Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I have a crochet tutorial for you today. I'm going to be adding a Picot stitch edging to one of my crochet washcloths. This is the moss or linen stitch one that I did on my channel a couple months ago. You can find that under the playlist tab here on my channel if you'd like to learn how to do that first. But today we're going to be focusing on this Picot stitch border. So without further ado, let's grab our materials and get into the stitching. For the border on your washcloth, you're going to need a few materials. The first is your border color yarn. I'm using plain white. You can always use the yarn that you did your original washcloth in. It's really up to you. I just like having a contrast color so that you can really see the difference between the border and the original piece. You're also, of course, going to need a crochet hook and then a pair of scissors and a yarn needle to finish off the ends. I'm using a crocheted washcloth for this, but you can really use any washcloth. Adding crochet edging to knit washcloths is also really common. So if you happen to be a knitter looking for a way to jazz up your knit pieces, learning how to crochet a border is great. If you're a crocheter and just trying to add a little pizzazz to your piece, it works well too. We're going to start with a slip knot, and the only stitches that you need to know how to do in order to do a Picot edging are single crochets and chain stitches. So this one, and slip stitches. So this will be pretty easy to do. I'm going to start up at this top corner by inserting my hook and pulling through and just doing a chain one to get us started. This is going to kind of take the place of a first single crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet again, and then I'm going to chain two and slip stitch back into the first of those two chains. Then I'm going to do two single crochet. And what that's going to do is kind of create a little peak that sticks out on your border. So now that I've done my two single crochet, I'm going to chain two, slip stitch into the first of those two, and then do two single crochet. Some people do 3 chain stitches for their Picot. Either one works. Since I'm using a little bit of a stiffer yarn, I just did 2 because I can see that those peaks are definitely sticking out. You're just going to repeat this pattern all the way across your edge. So there's my chain 2 and slip stitch. Here's my single crochet 2, chain 2 and slip stitch, single crochet 2, and so on. I'm completing this row on camera so that I can show you what to do when you get to the corner. You'll also notice I'm not being super picky about like where I space my stitches on here. You can be if you want to, but it doesn't really matter, especially since this is a washcloth and not something fancier. I'm just kind of going along the edge, but not being too careful about where I put things. But that is your call if you want to be more careful about your counting than I am. I like the Picot edging too because it gives a little bit of like laciness to a finished piece without actually having to do anything that complicated. Okay. Once you get to the corner, I'm going to go ahead and do one more Picot stitch here. You're going to do another single crochet or 2 in the same corner to help you turn, but it really doesn't matter if there's a Picot stitch exactly lined up in the corner or not. Since we're not building a second row on top of this, you can kind of just do what you feel looks right on that particular corner. but it may line up correctly, it might not. In this case, I went ahead and put some extra single crochets in that corner to help me turn it, but it's really up to you. Since there's no second row after this, we don't need to be as careful about how we're building the corners. And generally you wouldn't do another row after a picot edge anyway, just because crocheting over those little peak stitches wouldn't really do much for a finished piece. You could, however, do a row of single crochet before you do your picot edging if that kind of helps you find your stitches a little bit better. I do have a tutorial on my channel as well for a plain single crochet border for a washcloth. I actually have a whole tutorial list called, I forget if it's beginner crochet patterns or easy crochet patterns, but there's you can find it under the playlist tab on my channel. But that's kind of it for the directions on how to do the picot stitch edging. You're just going to keep going all the way around your washcloth until you get to the end. Once you reach the final corner, all you need to do is slip stitch to join and then trim your yarn to weave in the ends. But this is what the picot edging looks like. So it gives kind of a wavy, like spiky border, but it makes it look kind of dainty and lacy. So once you weave in those ends, you are done. And that's it for our washcloth. This is what it looks like when all of the ends are woven in, and it just adds a nice decorative touch to any crochet piece. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you'd like to be notified of all of my other crafty content right here on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you'd like to follow me on other social media sites, that information is in the description box of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.